Hello and thank you for downloading episode 60 of We Got This with Mark and Hal. Hey, are you a fan of Mark Gagliardi, not just the podcaster, but the actor? Guess what? If you live in Tucson or Phoenix, you are in luck because our own Mark Gagliardi will be appearing in the brand new play Discord in both Tucson and Phoenix. And if you want to go see Mark live, go to arizonatheater.org for information on tickets. It is going to be a great show. I will be at one of the shows myself. This I swear. But for now, please enjoy episode 60 of We Got This with Mark and Hal. Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all. Krispy Kreme or Dunkin' Donuts?
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcasts should have a theme song. Podcasts should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
What is up, everybody? It is 10:58 in the morning.
We're coming at you. Drive time podcasting.
You knew I was going to do that as soon as you told me before recording this. Don't say what time it is that we're recording.
Sometimes I think that this is all just an elaborate troll that you've been pulling off this entire podcast. How can I make Hal Lublin's blood boil?
Oh, thanks for listening to the show.
And for listening to us talk to each other for a few minutes.
For a few minutes. Thanks for listening to us talk to each other for the past year.
We're assuming that you've been here the whole time.
Yeah, we don't get any new listeners. We've had the same listeners the whole time. They've just multiplied because they got wet.
Yeah. Please don't eat after midnight, listeners.
All right. And that is in no way to call our listeners gremlins.
No, not at all.
No, they're adorable mogwais.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we don't want them to eat. So.
All right. What's our topic today, Hal?
Do you think mogwais suffer from body shaming because people are constantly telling them not to eat?
Oh gosh, I hope not. They're adorable, but people also, like, if every time someone came up to you, they told you how adorable you were, that would probably offset any body shaming from, are you sure you want to eat that? It's after midnight.
Oh, that's true. I feel like there are a lot of mogwai in therapy.
Just little high pitched and a lot of therapists going, I do not know what you're saying. Listen, can you please speak? I'm a human therapist. I don't speak Mogwai. Maybe if that little old Asian man that sold you to, the big guy that looks like older Biff. What was that actor's name?
Zach Galligan? Or Gaffigan? Zach Galligan? Zach Galligan. Gilligan. Zach Gilligan.
Gilligan, right.
Yes.
So Bob Denver, when he did the movie Gremlins, let's talk about donuts, Hal.
Okay, let's do it. This has been suggested multiple times by multiple people, but the first time I recall seeing it was on the Maximum Fun subreddit, and it was suggested by Armageddon Overdrive, which sounds like a Stephen King novel.
Or a really awesome hairband.
Hey, did you see Armageddon Overdrive at the Roxy?
Yeah, they tore it up. I can't believe that one guy's cheetah pants ripped, though.
Well, he shouldn't have been doing that jumping split. But the opening band was great. Midnight Eaters.
Oh, they were so adorable.
I know.
I heard they're all in therapy. All right. Let's talk donuts, Hal.
Yes, these are two of probably the two biggest donut franchises in the continental United States.
Yes.
And a lot
if you've never had them, go eat both of them because look, I know that we get very excitable at the end and say you can never have the other one again. But if you decide not to listen to us, both of these are delicious.
They're all great donuts. And a lot of people love local, like now, a while ago, it felt like artisanal ice cream shops were really popular. where we do homemade, and those are still very much around in Los Angeles. But there are also a lot of like famous donut places, like Top Pot Donuts, I think is one, and then Voodoo Donuts, which is in Portland and now is in Austin, and I think is coming to LA. There are a lot of really cool designer donut stores where they make crazy donuts with filling. They have cake donuts and yeast donuts, and
they have cronuts. Who is it? There's a bakery in New York created the cronut, and now of course I think it's Dunkin' Donuts has latched onto that and now has their own version of the cronut.
Yes. Yeah, they have a very widely expanded bakery, which we'll get into, but for all the people who have their local donut chains, even we have Winchell's and Yum Yum out here. Those
Randy's, which was the inspiration for Lard Lad donuts on The Simpsons.
Yes, if you're ever in LA and you are going to or coming from the airport, stop in Westchester, I believe is the actual city that it's in. It's right near the airport. Randy's Donuts. It's also famously in Iron Man 2 when he's eating donuts by himself inside the giant donut. That is Randy's Donuts. And they make maybe the best donut on the planet.
Is it a specific donut or do you mean in general?
It's just a glazed yeast donut. They're just like straight ahead donut they've been making since the beginning is fantastic. It's Randy's Donuts, people. I've repeated it so that I'm sure that you're going there.
Great. So in our Krispy Kreme versus Dunkin' Donuts, Randy's has won.
People of the world. But these are like two, I feel like people they really voraciously defend one or the other. And it may depend.
First of all, why? They're both donuts. If somebody comes into work with a box that says Krispy Kreme or a box that says Dunkin' Donuts, I don't care what the box says. I'm going to stick my hand in there and eat one of them.
I am too, but I think it's an emotional attachment. Like you have an emotional attachment to a specific deli, let's say in New York.
Right.
That is the best deli food you'll ever have. Even though you could probably go to a lot of delis that would make something similar.
The Pope of Fifth Avenue is the greatest sandwich in New York at the Fifth Avenue Deli on Fifth Avenue and 9th Street in Brooklyn. Yeah, I've got my local, of course.
Exhibit A. So somebody grew up with a donut place that was local to them. Krispy Kreme is huge here on the West Coast because and part of that I think is because Dunkin' Donuts hasn't been around for a large period of time. It's here now. There's one within a 10-minute drive from my place here on the west side of Los Angeles, and they're popping up all over.
Dunkin' Donuts are very much a New York institution.
Right.
Not specifically New York, but in New York, they are as ubiquitous as Starbucks. I can walk from my apartment to Atlantic Terminal and I pass by 3 Dunkin' Donuts on the way.
Absolutely. And same for Philadelphia, that whole East Coast area. In fact, it was founded in Massachusetts. So it is specifically a Northeast, or born of the Northeast as a donut chain. But Mark, so I grew up like a special treat was getting to go to Dunkin' Donuts and get my favorite, donut, which is a vanilla glazed.
Ooh.
What did you have, growing up? Did you have, Dunkin' Donuts or was there a specialty shop near you? What did you do growing up in Tennessee?
When I was growing up, we had, we had both. We had Dunkin' Donuts and Krispy Kreme in town. And I actually remember when Krispy Kreme first came to Los Angeles, which was maybe 12, 13 years ago.
Okay.
And people freaked out and there was a line out the door every day at Krispy Kreme in LA because people in LA had never experienced Krispy Kreme before. I had a Krispy Kreme donut shop on the way to school. So in Knoxville, Tennessee, there was a Krispy Kreme as we pulled up to Sacred Heart School. And so it was always just like passing by a Krispy Kreme meant I was going to school. So there may be a little bit of engineering. What's that called? Pavlov's dog?
Oh, conditioning. You were being
conditioning. Thank you. I was conditioned to worry about whether or not I had done my homework every time I saw a Krispy Kreme. But I do love Krispy Kreme. And, for me, Dunkin' Donuts were a rare treat as a child.
Okay.
My parents were very much into not giving us unhealthy things, which much to the chagrin of a child, who that's all we want to eat. And the thing I remember of Dunkin' Donuts wasn't the donuts themselves. And this is one of those ticks in the Dunkin' Donuts column for me is Munchkins.
Oh.
Munchkins are what Dunkin' Donuts called their donut holes.
Yep.
And Munchkins would frequently be brought to school by a parent whose kid, it was their birthday, or if we were going on a field trip, the teacher would have a couple of little carrying crates. They looked like she's carrying a 12-pack, but instead of beers, because we were children, for God's sake, they were filled with tiny, delicious donut holes. And some of them were even filled, which, to a husky pants child, that was, oh man, that was heaven.
Husky Pants Child is that other band that opened at the Roxy. They were the
Oh yeah. Those guys were great.
But Munchkins were, I feel like, and I'm sure they existed well before I was a child, but I had that sense of ownership, like, oh, those were invented when I was a kid. And I was around when they first debuted. And I'm sure that they were not, but
no.
That became a part of childhood. When it was somebody's birthday, they brought in the Munchkins, and you would eat, like, every one was good, except for the plain donut ones. I feel like they had those that were like, they were not powdered sugar, but maybe a little bit of cinnamon, and
they would get residual stuff from all the other Munchkins in the carrying crate.
Right. But they still were like, like the least flavorful of all of them. So Dunkin' Donuts did have that for me. I didn't have Krispy Kreme that I remember in Philadelphia. I didn't encounter it till I moved out here in the year 2000. And I thought it was a really, really good donut. And to me, like, it was always, you drive by and look for the Krispy Kreme's light to be on. Does that mean that meant they had fresh donuts, right? And then you get in the insane drive-through line to get donuts put in your car so that you could put them in your face.
I had an old roommate who would wait until the light went off and then go and catch them as they were tossing out the donuts and just get them for free.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's,
you do what you got to do when you're just out of school and don't have any money. So you didn't grow up with Krispy Kreme. You grew up strictly with Dunkin' Donuts, or did you have a local in Philly that you went to?
No, it was Dunkin' Donuts. That was the local. Because I don't think in the late 70s, early 80s, there were a lot of local donut shops. I mean, there were some that were like bakeries and stuff, but Dunkin' Donuts was everywhere in urban Philadelphia, same as New York, same as Boston, obviously. But Krispy Kreme, I always assumed was a West Coast. Like, it had started in California, but it actually started in North Carolina in the late 30s.
Krispy Kreme to me is very much a Southern thing.
Okay.
It feels like a very, very Southern thing. I feel when I think about donuts in LA, I always think about the small, the mom and pop donut stores.
Right.
So let's get into this, shall we?
Yes.
All right. What are our criteria that we are going to be looking at today in order to determine which is the superior? Are we looking at the superior donut itself? Are we looking at the superior chain?
I think we should look at the superior chain, and I would judge it on three criteria to keep it very simple.
Okay.
One is, which do we think makes the better fashion of donut? So they both have their version of Munchkins. There are donut holes that Krispy Kreme sells. They both have a basic glazed donut. They both have frosted donuts. Which is a better general donut? And then I think the second should be general variety of treats that they sell. So it could be the variety of donuts that they carry, whether the other treats that they may have on their menu, contribute in a positive way or actually, take away from the value of the store experience. And I'd say the third, which you will be able to judge better than I will, is the coffee. Because that is always a big thing. Like, donuts go with coffee. For me, it's milk, because I'm not much of a coffee drinker.
Sure, because a donut is basically a breakfast cookie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think those are the three.
Whoever decided, by the way,
Yeah.
that it's like a birthday cake for breakfast. You're like, that's a thing. Yeah, like whoever decided that a donut is an appropriate breakfast is a genius and a jerk.
I feel like with so many things, it's created for working class people who's just like, here's a round thing you can hold in your mouth while you put rivets in the side of this boat that we're building.
Right. And here is sugar to get you through your long work day.
Yeah. But it is
well, the first 10 minutes of it, then you'll need a nap.
And that's why factory hammocks were born.
Oh, factory hammocks.
That's
another episode.
Factory hammocks, good or bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is like the kind of thing that's great any time of day. Like it's great to have at breakfast. It's a special treat. It's almost like you can have it as breakfast, or you have it if you're having like a brunch, you can have it at the end of the brunch and it becomes like a first dessert. It becomes like a Hobbit meal. Like you create a special meal to have the donut. It's great for like a lunchtime pick me up. So you can have it when there's like an office birthday or something, or a school birthday, there are donuts brought in and everybody's real excited, and you either eat them. Sometimes they're brought in the morning and you eat them then, but you're going to come back to that box several times during the day. Like there's no bad time to have a donut, right?
Here's how I see. I'm so conscious now of trying to avoid donuts.
Sure.
That here is how I deal with and I'm the jerk. Here's how I deal with donuts when they are in the box in the break room.
Okay.
I won't eat a whole donut. I will pick up a donut and I will break or cut it in half. Mm-hmm. And I will eat half a donut and leave half a donut in the thing. And then later, when I come back, and if my half a donut is still there, which sometimes it is, I will cut that half donut in half and eat that half of it. And I will do this Nautilus style, where I'm halving it every time until I'm like, why don't I just eat this? It's just like a 16th of a donut. I've already eaten 15 of the 16 pieces. I might as well just have this last bite, but I will eat it slowly over the course of a day. And basically I'm using the donut box as my personal plate.
Yeah. And not only that, but you get to a point where the donut only exists in theory because it's been cut so many times.
Yeah, it's just crumbs. At this point, it is the crumbs at the bottom of the box. But you're like, no, that's still part of my donut.
It becomes Schrodinger's donut, where you're not even sure if it's in the box. Hey, as long as this box is closed, as far as I know, there's still some donut in there.
What is with us doing with insane scientific theories today? Pavlov's dog, Schrodinger's donut. Let's squeeze in an Occam's razor and a Chekhov's gun.
Well, we'll come to that at the end of the show.
Oh yeah, because I'm going off by the end of this show, baby. Let's start with the coffee. We'll work backwards because, and I know you don't drink coffee. Right. I may have to pull this one off the table and add another criteria if you don't mind, simply because I don't know Krispy Kreme coffee. Okay. I know Dunkin' Donuts coffee because I have it. I buy the K-Cups of Dunkin' Donuts sometimes. And, first of all, I love that their ad slogan is Dunkin' Donuts, the world's best coffee.
They really do just put it right out there, don't they?
Yeah. And that's what that's like having, Toyota, the world's best tires. You're like, that's not what I'm buying. I mean, I'm getting it because it's there. Like McDonald's has the best Diet Coke. Maybe. But their coffee is very good. So I can't really compare those two. I would like to add a criteria jumping off of this.
Let's do it.
Is marketing and business. Looking at the business itself. Okay. Because I feel like far and away, Dunkin' Donuts crushes Krispy Kreme on this one.
Sure.
First of all, there are only about 1,000 Krispy Kreme shops. There are over 11,000 Dunkin' Donuts shops.
Right.
Dunkin' Donuts has marketed so brilliantly over the years. Like Munchkins, they don't call them donut holes. They call them Munchkins. And that's what they were always called for me as a kid. They've got, first of all, you go to their website and you go to Krispy Kreme's website and the first thing you see is, pictures of all their donuts.
Sure.
You go to Dunkin' Donuts website and the first thing you see is, are you a member? Sign in, get your perks rewards cards. Like they are. First of all, I am never getting a donut membership. Because I already have a Domino's pizza membership, and for God's sake, isn't that enough?
You have a Domino's pizza membership?
I don't want to talk about it.
I do. What? Tell me.
Look, man, when you're getting something delivered, sometimes when you're getting stuff delivered, you need to make an online account to get it delivered. And I'm not planning on having donuts delivered to me anytime soon. So I don't need to make a Dunkin' Donuts account. And even when you try to click off of it, there is nowhere to click that doesn't sign you in to buying or to getting this account.
Right.
I finally just clicked on the name Dunkin' Donuts, and that took me to their website. It's like, you sneaky SOBs.
It is. They are pretty on point. They're in way more places. Their branding is great. I always think right now, one of their catchphrases, I don't know if they've abandoned it. I think it's currently in place, is America runs on Dunkin'.
Yes.
Which is a great catchphrase. But what I remember the most growing up are those TV commercials with the baker who would wake up at an insane hour and say, time to make the donuts.
Time to make the donuts.
Like they have a classic ad campaign that I grew up, that was part of my childhood. It was like part of the cultural zeitgeist of an entire decade. And maybe longer than a decade. It might have been late 70s into the 80s.
This was the 70s into the 80s. And, I remember these from when I was a kid as well. They may have just been running them still, like the same one or two commercials.
Yeah.
They also put their branding on other things, specifically sports. They're big up in the Northeast. They sponsor the Dallas Cowboys, the Yankees, the Mets, the Red Sox, the Patriots. First of all, I don't know how they can sponsor both the Yankees and the Red Sox and get away with that.
That just means they're courageous.
Yeah. They, you know what? We're here today to salute the courage of the brave men and women of Dunkin' Donuts who get up when it is time to make the donuts.
Yes. Specifically, Fred the baker, who I can tell you was in commercials. He was in it for almost 20 years, 1981 to 1997. Fred the baker was used and showed him the thing that makes me think of is that Dunkin' Donuts is always there. Cause growing up, there was always a Dunkin' Donuts somewhere. So it fed into that idea that this franchise will always be there for you. When you want a donut, they're up and working hard. Although I never once saw anybody in a Dunkin' Donuts franchise who is anything close to Fred the baker in terms of their dedication to being at a Dunkin' Donuts at 6 or 7 in the morning selling those donuts.
Yeah, if you got there super early, they looked pretty miserable. Did you go early to get the donuts?
I didn't at Dunkin'. Really warm donuts weren't a thing I thought about until Krispy Kreme, which I know we'll get to in a second. But to me, it was sitting in the case, and they're very yeasty donuts. If you've never had Dunkin' Donuts, and the difference between yeast and cake, if you didn't know, cake tends to be a smaller, sort of tighter ring and is very spongy and a more dense donut.
It looks like a pound cake.
Yeah. And the yeast they look almost like a deflated tire, and they're very airy in the middle. And there's less dough and it's a lot lighter.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they had both at Dunkin' Donuts, but I remember getting those yeasty donuts that were in a line, and those trays always seemed to be full. And if the one I wanted wasn't there, it was just crushing.
How often were you eating donuts as a kid? I'm getting really jealous of you and your connection to donuts, by the way.
I mean,
because I would get them maybe every 6 to 8 weeks.
Look, I'm not a player. I just crush a lot. I had donuts. Like, if I had donuts once a month, that would be a lot. I don't think it was even that. I don't think it was that regular, except when you're a kid, of course, and they bring the munchkins in for somebody's birthday. And then you're like, if you're real lucky, you've got like 2 birthdays in a week, and that means you're getting plenty of munchkins coming in. You're getting your fix. But I just have strong memories around it. Like it just, for whatever reason, it's something that stuck with me as just a part of the fabric of my childhood. Was Dunkin' Donuts was there. It was in the neighborhood. It was walkable. So
yeah, that's, you know what? It's good for it to be walkable.
Yeah.
Cause you got to walk off that donut.
Now you can't walk far enough to walk. You'd have to be like Forrest Gump running back and forth across the country to get rid of that donut. But Krispy Kreme, for me, I really like the architecture of their buildings, which is a weird, people don't think of that necessarily as marketing, I think in general, but it is. And to me, it makes me think of like the 40s and 50s, which for some reason is a period of time that really appeals to me. So in that way, I think that gives them an advantage over Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, I feel like they do a cool thing where Krispy Kreme's marketing is, we're just going to be cool, and kind of there are underground things that people know, like the light. Right. You know, if the light's on, we're making the donuts. So they've got these things that they're kind of underground and cool, and people just come to them. Like, we're just going to be ourselves and you come to us. Dunkin' Donuts is blasting you with commercials and advertising and marketing and that, I mean, that could be the reason that they had, you know, their sales are $6 billion and they've got 11,000 franchises.
Yeah. So I think in terms of the marketing, Dunkin' Donuts
wins.
They're a bigger business.
Yeah. But Krispy Kreme does have that cool factor with the cool retro looking buildings and, the sort of secret menu, like In-N-Out style, you know.
Yeah.
Not secret menu, but secret little things to know.
And they do have really good licensing deals. I remember a couple of years ago, they had a Ghostbusters donut, which was a glazed jelly. It was marshmallow filled, and it had like green icing on it and then a Ghostbusters logo.
This was Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme?
This was Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme had this. So
all right, let's move on to the donuts. What was I'm sorry, go. No. Because it seemed like we were segueing toward this.
I just love Ghostbusters, but go ahead.
Ghostbusters is amazing, and I'm very excited about the new movie.
Yes.
And all the haters out there, it's not ruining your childhood.
Yes.
There's no way to ruin a movie that's already been made.
Also, your childhood maybe wasn't that good if this is going to ruin it.
Yeah. Also, this is for your children, not for you. Anyway, that's my soapbox for the day.
Perfect.
Let's move on to talk about the donuts themselves.
Sure.
If I may, the second criteria was, what was it? Menu?
Yeah.
What was the second?
So we did marketing, then we're going to do variety of donuts and treats. And then I think we'll wrap it up with quality of donut. And that's where we'll make our stand and our decision.
All right. Here is for me the big difference between Krispy Kreme and Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay.
Dunkin' Donuts is a jack of all trades, and Krispy Kreme is a master of one.
Okay.
Meaning, Dunkin' Donuts, you can walk in and there are a million varieties, and I don't think of one donut at Dunkin' Donuts as being the thing that I have to get. Then they have a million other things too. They've got their breakfast sandwiches. They've got chicken biscuits. Like, Krispy Kreme to me is, if someone is bringing a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts into the office.
Right.
When you open the box, there's a 50-50 chance they're all going to be the original glazed Krispy Kreme official donut.
Right.
Dunkin' Donuts, you're going to get the variety. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
I know that Krispy Kreme makes a million other donuts, but I feel like, in fact, they've got some crazy donuts they're making now. They have one that looks like a baseball. They have 5 different emoji donuts.
I know. You could get a surprise donut.
What? Come on. They have one that looks like a football, one that looks like, they have all the different sports balls.
Yes.
Tennis, base, basket, foot.
The chocolate, just sort of the chocolate cream filled looks like a hockey puck.
Yeah. Yeah, so they've got all the sports covered.
Yeah.
I feel like this is Krispy Kreme kind of doing a half-assed attempt at variety when everybody just goes there for one donut. There's one donut that they do great.
But you know what? You bring up a good point, which is Dunkin' Donuts has they've sort of pivoted. So they're always going to be a donut place. They'll as far as we know, I can't imagine them being anything other than Dunkin' Donuts. But to walk into one, and I was in one recently, I noticed like it's a lot of breakfast sandwiches and muffins and bagels, and the donuts are there, but it seems like they occupy less space in the store. So now they have to compete with all the other snacks. Yeah,
the counter space now is being taken up by that weird half microwave, half oven thing that Subway also uses.
Yes.
It's like, it's not a microwave, it's just like a super fast oven.
Exactly. Yeah, so they can heat up all their breakfast sandwiches. But I think, are you saying what I'm saying here, which is that Krispy Kreme probably is a better variety because really like the donuts, in this case, Dunkin' Donuts having all these different types of treats actually is a detraction from their offering.
Oh no, I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying that Dunkin' Donuts wins in the variety category. I feel like Krispy Kreme's variety is like all right, we'll do this to compete with Dunkin' Donuts. How are we talking about variety and you're saying the fact that Dunkin' Donuts has a million things is bad? Wouldn't that put them over the edge in variety? Well, granted, they're not all donuts.
Well, here's the question is the variety, does the quantity equal quality? So if we're looking at variety, just how many different things do they have? Dunkin' Donuts wipes the floor with Krispy Kreme. However, if you're looking at it as, what is the quality of their offering? You know, they both do more than one thing. I will say in support of your argument that a lot of these, they really don't have anything that is not a frosted donut. They have a sugar donut and a cinnamon apple filled, like a couple of their, like the dulce de leche, a couple of the filled donuts aren't glazed all around, but everything is like, they have to coat it in sugar wax to sell it to you.
Sugar Wax is the record label that all of those bands were on.
It's like if you remove that layer, just the thing would turn to powder. Like it's somehow the only thing that's holding that donut together is this layer of glaze, which is delicious, but also for me, it drives me crazy. Like I eat it and then my hands are dirty all the time. There's no way around it. Are you going to like knife and fork your donut?
You just got sugar flakes.
Please. You're going to eat it with your hands and then your hands.
If you eat a donut with a knife and fork, you are a fancy pants.
I am. I always wear my monocle and my cravat whenever I eat donuts, and I do not want to get them messy. I'm a proper gentleman. So to me, so then maybe variety does go to Dunkin' Donuts. There is something to how many different donuts Krispy Kreme has, and
they have 53 donuts.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about their 53 donuts.
Sure.
5 of them are, grin, silly, smirk, surprise, and wink. It's not really the donut itself that seems different. It's just what's on top of the donut.
Right.
But we're talking about the establishment.
Yes.
Remember, we made this we're talking about the establishment, not the donut itself. So based on that, I think Dunkin' Donuts has to win in the variety category.
Yeah.
Because of all the other things besides donuts they sell. Remember, we're not just going on the donut. We're going on the establishment.
For sure. And even, this is kind of sad. Krispy Kreme has bagels and cinnamon oatmeal and regular oatmeal. Those are their like variety pieces, really. And then, but they say bagels are offered at the following locations, and then it gives like 7 places. And out of those places, the blueberry bagel is not available in 3 of the states, which means you have to go to Nebraska or Tampa, Florida, if you ever want to try a blueberry bagel at a Krispy Kreme, which is sort of like, you guys can't get that together, or you can't, like, at this point, the bagels haven't done well enough that you're either going to put them everywhere or you're not going to sell them because that's taking up a lot of emoji space. You can put the poop emoji donut in there that we don't have yet.
Look, I don't know that I want the poop emoji donut.
Well, it's going to become that after you eat it anyway, so it might as well look like that going in. So on variety, the win also goes to Dunkin' Donuts. And it would seem right now like Dunkin' Donuts is the clear winner. However, I think that what it comes down to is this final category. Would you agree?
I would agree. And I feel like this is where the great evening out is going to happen.
Okay.
Because I find Krispy Kreme donuts, the donut itself, to be vastly superior to the Dunkin' Donut.
Really?
I do.
Tell me why.
Because, and I think maybe part of it is, I'm looking at all other things being equal. I'm looking at the, classic Krispy Kreme glazed donut.
Okay.
Versus a classic Dunkin' Donuts, glazed donut.
All right.
You call them yeast donuts. We always called them glazed. It was like cake or glazed was how we called them as a kid.
Sure.
So looking at those donuts being equal, I wish I had them in front of me right now. I wish I had them in front of me generally, but I wish I specifically had them in front of me right now. Because I feel like the Dunkin' Donuts, they're a little more stale. They're a little more dense. Mm-hmm. They're a little more like they've been sitting out in a display case all day.
Right.
And I feel like Krispy Kreme donuts, they're a different animal. I get them when they're warm. They sort of melt in your mouth. I don't know. And that's just personal taste. I feel I prefer a Krispy Kreme classic glazed donut. Now, I like a filled donut as well. I'm a Boston cream filled donut fan.
Okay.
And, even those, I feel like Krispy Kreme, that sort of doughy softness that they have, it envelops that a lot better than the sitting out all day Dunkin' Donuts. I guess that's the big thing for me is that Krispy Kreme donuts taste fresher because I think they are generally.
Sure.
What do you think?
This is tough because what I'm trying to do right now is detach myself emotionally from Dunkin' Donuts. Because
when have you ever been able to detach yourself emotionally from anything that we've talked about on this show that even remotely exists in Philadelphia?
You're right.
We could be talking about gloves and you'd be like, well, I bought this one pair of gloves in Philly once. Go Phillies. These gloves are the best. Screw mittens. We haven't done gloves or mittens yet.
I can't help it. I love my hometown.
I know you do, buddy. And I love Philadelphia too.
See, of course you do, because it's the greatest city. That one's settled. We'll never have to discuss that one. But
really,
I'm taking it.
All right.
For me, there are very few treats I like better, especially from a bakery, than that vanilla frosted donut, where it is a yeast donut. There's only frosting on top, but it's that nice thick, like you tap it and it feels like a hard glaze, but then it's a little thicker and it's got a creamy, sugary taste underneath. I love that donut. You can put sprinkles on it or not. I don't care.
Wait, you like carry your own sprinkles?
I always carry a small satchel of sprinkles with me because they make everything better. They're on a little like belt pouch. So I look like an adventure.
Sure. Rainbow or chocolate?
For me, it's rainbow, especially on a vanilla frosted, although I like chocolate sprinkles. My father will not allow me to call the rainbow ones Jimmy's, which could be a whole other episode. He says what do you call them? The chocolate ones are Jimmy's. The rainbow ones are sprinkles because only chocolate ones are worthy in his eyes.
Where is Bill getting these arbitrary, I feel like he has his own version of this show that's just him in his mind making decisions for all of us.
Welcome to my childhood.
We love you, Bill.
We love you, Dad. But to me, the comparison is the standard Krispy Kreme glazed donut to the vanilla frosted from Dunkin' Donuts. And they're both great donuts. What I like about the Dunkin' a little bit more is that there's more donut to eat. I agree with the jelly. I actually think Krispy Kreme does a filled donut. Their filled donuts are superior because to me, the Dunkin' Donuts always look like they were blown up. Like there's a shape, there's a visual pleasure to eating a Krispy Kreme donut. They all look clean. There's something clean and uniform about them. There's something about Dunkin' Donuts where they
just looks dirty.
Yeah. Dunkin' Donuts are those donuts are like snowflakes. They're all different. And each of the jelly ones looks like, it looks like the top half of Oscar the Grouch's trash can. It's like misshapen and weird. And it tastes good, but it makes it difficult to eat. So for filled donuts, I give Krispy Kreme the edge. But for unfilled donuts, you give Dunkin' the edge. You get more donut for your buck. And I've never thought of them as stale because I guess the appeal of fresh warm donuts has never really latched on to me the same way as like getting a fresh bagel is like an absolute treat. If I can go to a bagel shop and get one when they're freshly made, that's like the best, a fresh warm bagel. That's something I have really strong memories of as a kid. I don't remember warm donuts, and I haven't had them enough, I guess, from Krispy Kreme, or they never made enough of an impression that I go, that's what would give it the edge for me. So now we're at a bit of an impasse.
I don't know that we are, though.
How so?
Because looking at our criteria, we're split on Krispy Kreme or Dunkin' Donuts as the superior actual donut itself. But there was a clear winner in each of the other categories.
That's true.
And that was Dunkin' Donuts. Let me add one more category.
Let's do it.
Spelling.
Oh, Dunkin' Donuts.
D-O-N-U-T, not D-O-U-G-H-N-U-T.
No, they're donuts. Let's not be.
Yeah, that's Doff Nuts.
Yeah, we're not going to have Doff Nuts.
Yeah.
Plus, like the Krispy Kreme is also cool too. Like they both seem like renegade franchises. Like we don't spell the way you spell. Our town is different. But yeah, there's something about
crispy is spelled wrong, cream is spelled wrong, and donuts is spelled fancy.
But there's also something to the Dunkin' part where they refuse to put the G there. That makes them. Here's the other distinction for me. I think of Krispy Kremes as kind of it is a fancy donut, not just because of how they spell the word. It's sort of like, I'm going to get a Krispy Kreme donut, and this is going to be a very special experience. To me, Dunkin' Donuts is like, hey, I'm going to go down to Dunkin' Donuts. I got to get some donuts. I got to get some money.
I got to go to work.
That's like the working class donut to me.
Yeah. Nobody calls it Dunkin' Donuts because nobody who goes to Dunkin' Donuts on a regular basis uses G's at the end of their gerunds. Right?
Yes. Also, Dunkin' Donuts sounds like a golf club.
Also, I think that for their logo's sake, if they had the G on the end and the letters wouldn't line up, you get it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So do we have a winner, Hal?
I think we do have a winner.
With much respect to the runner-up, if you will, Mr. Lublin.
People of the world, when it comes to major donut chains all across this country, you have two choices. And really, if you're in most places in this country, you have one choice. And it's Dunkin' Donuts. It's the right choice. They're the cool kid who's hanging out in the corner of the schoolyard, lighting matches and throwing them on the ground. I don't need your G. We're Dunkin' Donuts. The apostrophe is my knife that I use to stab haters. But also, that didn't get away from me. I don't care what you say. Also, they make great donuts, guys. They make breakfast sandwiches. They make muffins. They make a coffee that is well known, although I know so many of you are going to get on Twitter and say it's water. I don't care. You have been overruled. And I need all of you out there to understand that every decision that Mark and I make is for the greater good of your life. And now your life is so much better because when people start talking about what the best donut place is, you know that there's only one choice. And it's Fred the Baker's place of employment for 16 years. And he has passed away since then. He's been gone 11 years now. But he's not forgotten because it's time to make the donuts at Dunkin' Donuts. Your winner. Asked and answered. Thank you, Armageddon Overdrive.
Our next episode will be which donut itself is superior. Then you and I can really argue.
Yes.
But as far as the establishments go, Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme, as an establishment, this one is done. Locked up, sealed, the end. But you know what, Hal? Here's the thing I love.
Tell me.
There are many more topics to discuss.
Yes.
Quickly, I'm doing a show right now in Arizona, and I was getting my beard attached to my face last night. And I was chatting with Sandal, who is the woman who does that. And she was asking me, she's a podcast fan. She was asking me about the podcast. And I mentioned what our podcast is. And she went, "Oh, so your podcast is Reddit?" And I went, "Oh, you know what?" So let me say now, there are many more topics to discuss. You can reach out to us on Twitter at We Got This Tweets, or you can go to the Maximum Fun subreddit, where there is no doubt an argument happening right now.
Or you can go to Facebook at facebook.com/We Got This Podcast, or you can email us at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com. We look at all of them. We synthesize all of the suggestions and put them in a big spreadsheet that Mark and I choose from at random. So you will be heard.
Yes. Thank you, as always, to our musicians, Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman, for our score and song, respectively.
Big thanks to producer Ken Plume, to researcher Kate McManus, who gave us so many facts on both of these places, all of which were pretty much featured.
Thank you for this. This was a huge help.
Yes. And thank you to graphic designer Uri Kelman, and as always, our QA engineer, Jen Alba.
And, of course, thank you to you, our listeners, who for some reason want to listen to me and Hal talk about donuts, and we love you for it, and thank you. And we want to talk to you about donuts, and we want to talk to you about a lot of topics, and we have for over a year now, and we can't thank you enough. Thank you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
And for Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin, and don't worry, everyone.
We got this.
We got this.
You guys, I'm so excited to introduce to you my new baby, Getting Curious with Jonathan Van Ness. This is going to be a really fun look at things that I find curious, whether it's a menstrual cup, it might be the Romanoff family, it might be fracking, it could be Carly Fiorina. I don't even know. Who knows? It's going to be whatever I think is interesting. I can't wait to bring it to you guys. We're going to be bringing in content experts. I'm going to be learning the things. It's only going to take about 30 minutes for you to expand your baby brains with me and have a super fun time. So I can't wait to see you on our first episode of Getting Curious.
Hello, Brent.
Travis.
Welcome to Trends Like These.
What's Trends Like These, you ask? Well, it's a podcast where we take the news trending on the internet and we cover it in podcast form.
We go beyond the headlines, beyond the memes, to bring you the real story so that when your friends bring it up, you can look real smart.
We take things that need to be debunked and we debunk them, and then we take things that need to be rebunked and we rebunk them.
We bring you all the details and we give you a spin on it, our opinions, our thoughts, and we also try to dig up some positive things to talk about, so it's not all bummers.
Just a couple of real-life friends talking internet trends.
So join us every Thursday on MaximumFun.org and wherever podcasts are found.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Listener supported.